there, Janet Fritz here for Galaxy Girl Creations. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to Stitches and Stencils, which I am combining with Follow a Sketch February. And the sketch that we are using today is from Sketchabilities. And this is a series that Sandie over at State Goddess has put together. And then Stitches and Stencils is a series that Sandie and MK and I all do every month for, we've been doing it over a year now. So anyway, we are using the sketch today, and then of course adding some stitching and stenciling. So I'm doing some Christmas photos that are related to Elf on the Shelf. And one of the kids that I take care of is in the photos. I'm also using a stencil from Sandie's website, Scrapping Reflections, and I will put a link to that down below so that you can go and check that out and pick it up if you're interested in that. I am using some texture paste that has sparkle in it. It dries clear, but it has a very fine gold sparkle. I thought this was really pretty. It goes great with this stencil, which kind of mimics the background paper that I'm using, but because there's no color on it, it doesn't really compete with it. Um, and I really love that. I love that fact. So I was going to go ahead and go with the sketch as it was, but then I decided to go ahead and rotate it. So you're going to see me rotate it. It's up in the corner there for you, already rotated, so you can imagine it in its rotated manner. Although the upper right hand corner, I'm also going to rotate that so it goes, the black strip goes horizontally instead of vertically. And I am using my favorite punch. It is the scallop punch from Do Crafts or X Cut. And I've had a hard time finding it recently, so I'm not even going to try and link it down below because I'm not sure it's something that you can even still get. I did run these two strips of the black scalloped area through my sewing machine to add some stitching. I have white as my bobbin thread, so I just loaded it with red and I ran it through with red and then I flipped it over and ran it through again. So it's got a strip of white or a line of white and a line of red stitching on it. And I think that just really adds to the texture and I really like how it looks that way. And then I considered just going to the edge of the white with the black strip, but I ended up going all the way out. I kind of like it looking like a shelf there, but like I said, I'm going to rotate the whole thing so it's not going to end up looking like a shelf. I also have this ticket punch. This is really old. The company that makes it is no longer around. It's from Little B, and I've had it probably for 10 years, and I've never used it. So here I am using it. I happened to be on a Zoom with or a phone call with MK, so I was holding it up and showing her how cute it was. And then the paper that I used, it was just a really old Prima paper from one of their 6x8. I think it's a 6x8 pads, and or maybe it's 8x8. I'm not sure. But you can see me punching more here, and I really liked the way that it punched out, looking like each little tag was its own piece because the paper that I used was a cut apart paper. It wasn't like a solid background. I actually intended to use the opposite side, which was uh, a repetitive pattern, but when I flipped it over, I saw that it punched out these. Um, they're not 3x4s, but the cut aparts just perfectly. So that's what I'm using for my little strips across behind my photos. I'm going to have the film strips behind and then this tag layer of tags kind of at the front for everything to kind of sit on. I did ink it all up with a little bit of black soot distress ink, and I am kind of moving the tickets around because I want this one with the wording on it to be diagonal from the title. The title says Stories of Our Elf, and that is from Colorcast Designs, and I've had it in my stash for a while now, so it's not from this last Christmas, maybe the prior year or even the year before. I'm not even 100% sure, but I thought it was perfect for these photos because it is um, the middle of the three kids that I take care of holding the elf with her magic glove so she doesn't make the elf disappear. And and then it's some of the uh, places that they woke up and found the elf had moved to the night before. So yeah, just some fun little elf stories for her album. I think it's really cute, and I definitely wanted to get those documented for her. And I'm not really sure if I'm going to use the entire black strip that I have, the second black strip, but I went ahead and did two of those black strips because I thought I might want to bring it in somewhere else with that stitching on it. So that's my stitching. My stenciling's already done on my white background. I also considered doing a little watercolor on that background, but I don't think it needs it. It's got enough going on that I feel like just the stenciling was the perfect amount of pattern in the background to um, make it feel like it was part of the layers and not just a piece of white paper. It has enough interest on it. So while I go ahead and get these little pieces layered up here, I just want to remind you that there are a bunch of people playing along with Follow a Sketch February, which has been brought to you by Sandie over at State Goddess. And there's a different sketch for every day of the month in February. I have played along here and there throughout the month, certainly not every day, but the playlist down below will have all of the videos throughout the month listed, so you can go and check those out if that's something that interests you and you'd like to get a little more inspiration using the sketch that I've got here today or any number of the sketches that have been released so far. And then, of course, I will put MK and Sandie's channel links down below for you also, so that you can go and check out what they are doing for stitches and stencils today, so you can get some more inspiration using some stitching and some stenciling. We are not particular on what kind of stitching you do. If you want to do some faux stitching, if you want to use do some hand stitching or run it through your sewing machine. All of those things work as long as you do some stitching and some stenciling. So just trying to show you some different ways to do some things or to show you the added texture and benefits that or interest that you might get on your layouts if you chose to do either one of these techniques. I am inking all of my little tickets up with some black sit distress ink to make them kind of pop out. I'm really liking the way that those look. I am also going to use the candy out of the package that you see up by my upper right hand there. Um, that is from MK's shop, some assemblage required. I will link again all of the products that I'm using in case they are of interest to you down below. And those are mostly affiliate links, so I do get a little bit of commission off of those if you decide to purchase through those links. I really appreciate it. It doesn't cost you anymore, and it does help me keep up on my channel and be able to show you some new things as well. So thank you for doing that if that's something that you choose to do. I am using some glue dots here just to hold my acrylic in place. It is usually my first choice of glue or adhesive for acrylic because I feel like it holds the best, but there are some cases where I do use a liquid glue because maybe the acrylic is too narrow for the glue dots to actually stick to. So I haven't had problems with the liquid glue. I use Nuvo Deluxe adhesive, but my first choice is usually glue dots. So I did decide to pull in some of these little light bulbs. These, I believe, are from Hobby Lobby, and they've been in my stash for a very, very long time. Don't know if they're even sold anymore, but I thought it'd be a nice way to bring in a little green and a little bit of bling to this particular layout. And so I kind of just cut those as long as I needed them and then decided to go ahead and use those. I also brought in a piece of epoxy flare from Scrap and Happy Studio. I don't know if that's available either because the epoxy flare in my stash is very old. I've had it for several years, so I couldn't tell you if it was something that you can still get. And then lastly, I'm going to go ahead and add a little journaling spot down here at the bottom, trying to decide if I want my little light bulbs to hang from the black strip or from the bottom of the label. I went with the bottom of the label so that I have a little bit more room for some journaling because those light bulbs would cover up quite a bit of the journaling space that I thought I was adding. So that's what helped me make that decision. And then with the epoxy flare, I'm using just some more glue dots because you don't want to add liquid glue to the back of the epoxy. It can distort the paper that the epoxy is put on over. And that is it, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you have any questions or comments, as always, leave those down below. I'll get back to you as quickly as I can. I do appreciate you taking time to hang out with me today, and I hope you enjoyed this one. So hit the thumbs up if you did. And if you're not already subscribed to my channel, I would love for you to consider subscribing as well. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys again real soon with another video. Bye-bye.